Hey, peace. What's happening, everyone? On out there, Lloyd.
Recognize royalty. Recognize royalty. Gotta recognize it. Recognize royalty. Like they ain't got eyes to recognize royalty.
For example, Shabuzi, he said immigrants built America. He talked out of line. And all these black people, from the politicians to these media journalists, to everybody saying like, yo, Shabuzi, that is wrong. Why are you saying that? There's some people pussyfooting around it and saying, well, you know, he didn't really understand. Like he's a white girl in in the need of help. But we have.
Do you think immigrants help to build America?
I think they contribute.
Okay. So, you know, if they contributed, why can't they say they built America?
Because they didn't build America. America was already built. They just contribute to what America already was.
But there's been immigrants here since the beginning of America, bro.
They contribute. It wasn't a group. There wasn't a whole group of y'all. It was like a small percentage of you. The most people who did it were black. Hold
on. All the white folks that was here were immigrants, right?
Yeah, but they didn't do shit. They couldn't even.
What you mean? The white folks didn't do shit?
They couldn't. They couldn't even build a state by themselves. They needed black help.
What are you talking about, bro? The white folks that was here?
They were on a border.
Hold on. The white folks that was here during slavery, most of them, if not all of them, were immigrants.
But they couldn't do it by themselves. They couldn't do it at all.
Reaper, what percent of the population were slaves? Like, let's say in 1780, what percent of the population was slaves?
I don't know, man. Come on, I'm not no historian.
It wasn't more than 10%.
They couldn't do it. They couldn't do it by this.
So you're telling me that 90% of the population
they couldn't do it by themselves.
Didn't build America. It was the 10% that was.
They couldn't do it by themselves. Absolutely, they couldn't do it by themselves.
Did the slaves do it by themselves?
Yeah, we did it. We did all the work.
Yo, listen.
We were free.
To yourself,
hold on. Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. Hold on. Let me ask you a question. If you're getting free labor, why would you help?
What are you talking about? It wasn't just free labor that built America.
So what is the slave?
Slaves?
What was slaves? Slaves
hold
were getting.
On.
So you tell. Hold on. So you tell me slaves.
Hold on.
You tell me slaves were getting paid. Then.
No, I'm saying there were white folks getting paid.
They were getting.
Wow. When black people were slaves, there were also workers next to them who were getting paid.
Why would you have them work?
It wasn't just black people working, doing all the work.
Why would you pay for something when you can get it for free?
Bro, the slaves wasn't doing everything.
So what did
the slaves was working on the farms and picking cotton? Like, that's not all the work that existed in America.
So what was the white people doing?
I can't believe I'm even having this conversation, bro.
Tell me what the white people were doing.
Like, even when white folks were working in factories, white people were building the railroad.
White people were
on the farms as well.
No, they weren't.
Do you think it was only slaves that were farming, bro?
You mean the indentured servants? The Irish?
No. Even if you count them, but there was also workers getting paid. There were paid workers as well.
If you're getting it for free, why would you pay anybody?
Because the people you were paying, like, they were like trained contractors. They were like people who had certain skills that were being paid. Yo, hold on. Reaper. Oh. You know that most of the slavery was going on in the South, right?
Why would you pay if you can get it done for
free? Reaper.
You still didn't tell me that.
Most of the slaves, because for one thing, there were certain skills that you needed that slaves didn't have.
What was the skills that a white person had that they didn't learn from black people?
Come on, Reaper.
I'm asking the question.
Slaves.
What
you mean?
What
like working in factories.
So
the same skills they have today. Working in factories.
So black people wasn't working in factories?
Not at the scale that the white folks was. Reaper, it's as if it's Reaper.
If
Reaper.
I'm getting for
It's as if
free,
you think slaves did all the work in
we
America.
did. They're
That's
telling you that.
ridiculous, bro.
The
Bro, you sound
government tell you.
ridiculous.
The government tell you that they did all the work.
No, they don't. That's ridiculous.
When the white people try to do it themselves, they couldn't do it.
Yo, Reaper. Do you know what GDP is
No, I don't know what GDP is. What is GDP?
for America? The gross domestic product,
Okay.
right? Like the gross domestic product is like all of the stuff that's produced in America,
Okay.
right? Like, do you know what percent slaves contributed to the gross domestic product?
Tell me, I'm not a historian.
Like 5%.
So where did you get this from?
Google it, bro.
No. I said where did
Like,
you?
I don't even.
I'm asking you where you
Reaper.
get. If I'm asking you a question, you should just tell me where you're getting it from. Why do I have to Google it if you told me?
Put it in Chat GPT.
Oh my God.
Ask Chat GPT what percent of the GDP did slaves contribute.
But you
It'll
told
be
me
like 5%.
if you're telling me and I'm asking you where did you get it from, why can't you tell me where you got it from?
I just told you, Google and Chat GPT.
So I have to Google it.
What the hell? What you want me to do? Give you a book? If I gave you a book, hold on.
I thought-
if I gave you a book,
I
what
thought
are you
you
gonna
got
say
it
if I
from
give
a
you a book? Oh, I got
or
to
you
read
got
a
it
book.
from some lecture, or you got it from some type of like government page or something. You got it from Google, man.
So what? We get everything from Google and Chat GPT. What the hell? What's going on, Reaper?
Okay, we get everything we.
Reaper,
So hold
Reaper,
on. So
Reaper, can I ask you a question,
Hold
Reaper?
on.
Reaper,
It's my turn.
Reaper,
It's
can I
my-
ask you a
it's-
question?
it's
Hold
my
on,
time. It's my
Reaper.
time. It's-
Reaper,
I-
hang on, Reaper. Come on, Reaper. Let me ask the question, Reaper. Reaper, do you think black people today do all the labor in America?
No, not no more. If you can,
Then how the hell you think slaves back then did all the labor?
because they had
And
to.
there was less slaves back then than there are today.
Because they had to
Less
do all the
slaves
work.
back then, there were black people today.
Because you gotta look at it. They had to do the work. If you don't do the work,
I'm
you
saying,
die.
like, yo,
You die if you don't do the work.
Reaper, can I ask you a question, Reaper? Do you know what percent of white folks own slaves?
Oh shit, here we go with this, man. Please tell me.
What percent of white folks own slaves, Reaper?
Please tell me. Just tell me. Tell me what you got off of Google. How many own slaves in Google?
About 5% of white folks own slaves. A handful of white folks. So let me ask you this question, Reaper. The white folks that didn't own slaves, what did they do? They just sat around?
Yeah, white people just.
Did they go to work?
White people are lazy.
You think they didn't go to work?
They didn't go to work.
Yo, Reaper, you sound crazy, bro.
I'm gonna say this, man. You love white people, don't you?
No, I'm just telling you, you sound crazy.
I'm just asking the question.
You sound nuts. For you to think that black people, the slaves, that were like less than 10% of the population at the time, right, who had limited skills, you know what I'm saying? And they were working for their slave masters. It's one thing to say they were doing the labor of their slave masters was just sitting around doing nothing. But the people who didn't own slaves, like the people in the North, for example, in the North, most people in the North, practically 100% of them in the North didn't own slaves. And in order to eat, they had to go out and work.
They did have slaves in the North.
There were a limited number of slaves. Slavery, 95% of slaves were in the South. More than 90% of the slaves were in the South.
Yeah.
So for you to think white folks back during slavery days did no work is ridiculous, bro.
Them motherfuckers is lazy.
And these white folk, hold on, I'm not done with my closing statement. Them white folks who had to go out and work to eat, they had jobs. And most of them were immigrants.
Oh shit.
And for you to say their labor didn't build America, only slave labor, like, you sound ridiculous, bro.
I asked you the question, what did they build? You said they
What
worked.
did they build? I already told you
You
that
said they worked. You said they worked in a factory. What did they build in these
They
factories?
worked in factory. They did the same work they're doing now. They worked in factories. They worked in banks. They worked in textile industry. They did everything, bro.
No, they didn't. They're lazy. I'm gonna give you another 30.
I mean, I've pretty much finished up, bro. Like everything you're saying sounds crazy to me. Like I don't believe that you believe what you're saying.
All
Like
right.
I don't believe that you believe that 90% of the population that was here, right? Them white folks and everybody else, because there were some
Good old white folks.
Asians here. There were Asians here. There were Chinese people here working on the railroad. And for you to think that only slaves were working, 90% of the population was just partying while the slaves was all working. Like
And eating each other.
I don't believe that you believe
Hold on, you forgot and eating each other.
any in each other. Like you sound crazy, bro.
I want you to listen very, very carefully.
It's all about life in the street. People are suffer, try survive in the heat. Bad mind them out to one hygiene a tweet. That's why enough of them get rifle a beat. Everybody want big ups and want to drive in a Jeep. Every day I'm at the ball when she buy in a read. Not even 5 days, we can't find for the week. Me no see no changes, the same cycle repeat. Give thanks cause life it's a sweet. But keep a eye open every time you go sleep. Cause mankind jealous and them idle go live. Them never yet plant and not try figure it. Bigger heads where you fight for the seat. Now cater about the future nor the child where you creep. Them a pray the fat Kyle we submit. The system will slide where you fit.
Inna the streets where we born and grow. Only Jah know and nobody know.
When we talk about ghetto life, talk about ghetto life.
Everybody a priest say them want the dough. That's why them a speed and they pan the go.
Cause this a real ghetto life. This a real ghetto life. Yeah. Everybody just a pre-success. When me looking at the street, you me see enough stress. Them all a fight for who reach up next. Everybody want floss and a beat up chest. Juvenile in a them teen love sex. Them a pre the fast money, them no need subjects. And if you're unfortunate, please don't vex. I saw the thing said cause the streets don't rest.
Inna the streets where we born and grow. Only Jah know and nobody know.
When we talk about ghetto life, talk about ghetto life.
Everybody a priest say them want the dough. That's why them a speed and they pan the go.
Cause this a real ghetto life. This a real ghetto life. Yeah. It's all about life in the street. People are suffer, try survive in the heat. Bad mind them up to one hygiene a tweet. That's why enough of them get rifle a beat. Everybody want big ups and want to drive in a Jeep. Every day I'm at the ball when she buy in a read. Not even 5 wheels, we can't find for the week. Me no see no changes, the same cycle repeat. Give thanks cause life it's a sweet. But keep a eye open every time you go sleep. Cause mankind jealous and them idle go live. Them never yet plant and not try figure it. Bigger heads where you fight for the seat. Now cater about the future nor the child where you creep. Them a pray the fat Kyle we submit. The system will slide where you fit.
Inna the streets where we born and grow. Only Jah know and nobody know.
When we talk about ghetto life, talk about ghetto life.
Everybody a priest say them want the dough. That's why them a speed and they pan the go.
Cause this a real ghetto life. This a real ghetto life. Yeah.